Shalom. Giving all honor, all praise, and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Arachak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect tabernacle of David that are scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now pay attention. With this digital evolution, with this fourth industrial revolution, where they're trying to merge man with technology, they're going to start to market to the world that the convenience of having this technology a part of your temple can mean so well for you. The benefit, the convenience, the upgrade, the things that it will be able to do for you as a human. They're going to make this thing very appealing to the mind's eye. All right. And if you're not of the elect and you don't have that eye salve and you don't have the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you're going to be taken. This is going to appear attractive, to the minds of a lot of different people out there. They're gonna make it look very appealing and attractive. All right. Just like they'll get celebrities to market, a nude item or a new shoe or a new attire. It's going to be the same way when it comes to this technology. Now, I'm not sure what nationality this person is, but he appear and seem to be Ishmael, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just detecting the language. Could be Elam, could be Ishmael. But this is a small clip, and this individual, he actually implants himself, and then he basically goes in a day in a life of walking around with that implant in his hand and what it does for him, what a day looks like for him with that implant. So let me play this real quick.
أول مصري عربي يقوم بزراعة شريحة رقمية إلكترونية في يده، المهندس أحمد طارق.
الميكروشيب نوع من أنواع الشرايح اللي بتتزرع في جسم الإنسان عادي جدا ومصنوعة من زجاج السيليكات وما ينفعش.
Now that right there, that was in his right hand, between the thumb and the index, right in his right hand. He went straight to the store. That's the first thing he done. The first thing he shows you, I'm finna walk into a store and make a purchase. Years ago, we was getting scoffed at for saying how it's gonna give you the ability to financially transact. Because when we get into the prophecy of the mark, it tells you that without it, you won't be able to buy or sell. And we was getting scoffed at by a particular Israelite group. And, they were clowning as if it didn't have that capability. It's radio frequency identification. What is it? What is that to do to buying and selling? That video's still up. And they never came out publicly and corrected that or anything. So you got proud, puffed up, arrogant, blind Israelites out there. But they're showing you All right. This is a day in the life of somebody with the implant. And they're going to basically browse through life, making it look easy. And people are going to see that and they're going to be attracted to it. And that's what's going to overtake a lot of these people's minds. The scriptures tell us, not to harden your hearts, because of the deceitfulness of sin. Sin can be very appealing and attractive to the flesh's eye. All right. This is what it can do. Pay attention. And there's a lot of people this is a culture. Biohacking, that's literally a culture where people walk around with a bunch of them in their body, and they use it for different reasons, for different purposes. Either way, it's still wrong. Now, one, you're not supposed to be putting any marks upon you, and just this overall lifestyle. The moment you do this, you're leaving away from your natural design. The Most High, when you were born, you wasn't born with technology in you. You wasn't born with chip implants already embedded in your body. So that is not a natural thing. But they're trying to make what's abnormal normal. And this is part of the evolution of this whole dynamic. Right? And this is part of Satan's devices. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, we're not ignorant of his devices. All right, but let me play it again.
من انواع الشرايح اللي بتتزرع في جسم الانسان عادي جدا ومصنوعه من زجاج السيليكات وما ينفعش اي حد يتحكم فيك زي ما الناس بتقول ولكن
So immediately it reads the device that's implanted in his hand, and it takes out of his account whatever the cost was, and then it immediately prints out the receipt. So he didn't have to pull out a card. He didn't have any cash. And the way things are going, you won't need cash. Cash will be obsolete. Cash should be a thing of old. People nowadays, they see you pull out a wad of cash, they looking at you like, damn, you still carry cash? Like, you still got that? Mainly when you see people go somewhere and make payments, they pulling out their card that got a chip in it, and they tapping it on the chip reader, and then they get their receipt. Like when I go to this Iskarite restaurant, get something to eat, they have the little kiosk, where you just slide the card in there and it reads your chip. And then it has the options on there that you want to tip. You hit, the 10%, 15%, 18% or whatever, the gratuity. And then after that, it says you want to print receipt. So everything is basically digital. There's no cash registers anymore. They don't really deal with cash like that. Now, you have certain stores that still do, but they're mainly, dealing with customers that use the card transaction. And then what's going to happen when they say, oh, well, the cards are outdated? And this thing is constantly evolving. Gradualism. You go to a hotel or a theme park or wherever, and you got to park in the parking lot or the parking garage. You're not sliding no cash in there to pay for it. You hit that button, the ticket comes out, and then before you leave, you got to go to that little machine, slide your ticket in there, and then you got to pay it electronically through your account. You're not putting no cash in there. It doesn't take cash. So it's getting there. So watch how everything shift. People are going to start to really think that this idea, is attractive. All right. It's like walking around like you VIP or something. People gonna think this type of thing makes them special. You saw how I got into my car, my vehicle. You saw how I opened up that door. What you want from the store? Matter of fact, come inside. Look how I look at how I bought it. Watch how it gets, man.
لكن انت الشخص الوحيد المسؤول عنها، لانك انت اللي بتبرمجها وتقدر تحط فيها اي حاجة انت عايزها، زي دفع المعاملات، زي فتح باب السيارة، وغيره من مميزات تانية كتير. مش ممكن اكون روبوت وانت ما تعرفش.
إنها تكنولوجيا المستقبل الحديث يا سادة.
Come on, man. A day in the life of walking around with the MOTB. All right, and that might have been somewhere somewhere on the eastern world. All right. So you got to be careful, man, because this type of thing is gonna get to people, and we know when Esau makes it mandatory, and this is gonna be the only way that you can function and be able to do things and buy and sell and work and all these different things. People are going to be thinking about temporary comfort. They're going to be thinking about, a short moment of pleasure. But you're going to be indulging in sin the whole time. Now, let me get Hebrews, because the mentality that Moses had, right? All right, he could have had it all if he chose to, but he decided to instead, suffer affliction, right? Hebrews 11:24 says, by faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High, than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. All right, and this, knowing that when they usher this thing in, and that's when the trial is gonna hit hard, for a lot of brothers and sisters. Just know that it's gonna be just for a season, meaning it's gonna be for a moment. Well, we're gonna be afflicted, and we're gonna have to step out on faith. It's not gonna go our way. We're not gonna have it easy. Everybody that's in the system, they're gonna have it easier, but they're gonna be totally controlled. So they're going to be busy and choosing to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, because, this is going to show their allegiance to the beast, where they will be able to, live. They'll be able to buy and sell and live, their regular everyday life. Just like people couldn't wait to get back to normal when they, were shutting everything down and, demanding everybody to take the death serum. All right. And, once people went and got it, it was like they was back to normal. They was able to show their little stub that, that they got from the doctor, or they was able to, use their QR code. And they was back in the restaurants, back in the nightclubs or whatever. But then a lot of them people, which you don't hear from, a lot of people, their body started to change. They develop these life-changing symptoms. Some people, they didn't even make it. They didn't even make it through the next year or two. But that's what happened when, you choose death rather than life. When you choose to save your life rather than to lose it. All right. So, hey, this mindset that Moses had, that would be very helpful in that time to come, that the time of the hour of temptation, choosing whether to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of Yahweh Shai greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. And a lot of our people, they're going to walk down to Egypt for help, because when Esau shut everything down and make everything scarce, he's going to make these people desperate to comply. That's what they want. They want compliance. They're going to make it, very hard. And people are going to naturally, run to the government, for help. They're going to cry out for the government's assistance. We need help. We need aid. We don't have anything. And that's when they're gonna basically everything is gonna be in there, and basically what's the word? But basically they will have the leverage. They will have all the advantage. The ball would be basically in their court. They would have the advantage. So that they could be the head and you'll be the tail, which it's always been that way for Israel. But the world is going to end up in that same position. So the hell with, enjoying pleasures of sin for a season. Because even the Lord said he's going to shorten the days for the elect's sake. If he didn't shorten those days, there would be no flesh to be saved. Okay. So let me go from there. Let me see. Let me get I wanted to do that as Second Maccabees on here. Yep. Second Maccabees 6. Let me see. Yeah, I'll read this right here. It's dealing with Eleazar. Second Maccabees 6 and 18, and it says, there was an elderly and highly respected teacher of the law by the name of Eleazar, whose mouth was being forced open to make him eat pork. And Eleazar, the chief priest, he disgraces that name, man. He don't even deserve to even have that name, because this right here, this elder here, he had a righteous legacy. Okay. It says, but he preferred an honorable death rather than a life of disgrace. So he spit out the meat and went willingly to the place of torture, showing how people should have courage to refuse unclean food, even if it cost them their lives. Same thing with the MOTB. You're going to refuse to get that implant, even if you got to get locked up, even if you got to go up under that guillotine, whatever the case may be, right? says those in charge of the sacrifice had been friends of Eleazar for a long time. And because of his friendship, they told him privately to bring meat that was lawful for him to eat. He need only pretend to eat pork, they said, and in this way, he would not be put to death. But Eleazar made a decision worthy of his gray hair and advanced age. All his life, he lived in perfect obedience to the Most High's holy laws. So he replied, kill me here and now. And that's the mentality that the elect will have. Some of them will be even martyred because of that. Such deception is not worthy of a man of many. Such deception is not worthy of a man of my years. Many young people would think that I had denied my faith after I was 90 years old. If I pretended to eat this meat just to live a little while longer, so I'm not going to even play with it. I'm not going to even, give the appearance of evil. Ain't that what the scriptures say? 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, abstain from all appearances of evil. Because you had this guy, Priest Zabak, or Elder Priest Zabak, he entertained the idea years ago that that basically you can take the chip out of your hand. You might get it for a little while and use the Yaquab the system, and then, take it out. Nah, if you got any integrity and loyalty, you're not going to even play with that notion. You're going to abstain from all appearances of evil. You had them clowns in the ISUPK. They was actually filming themselves going to get that shot, like idiots, trying to be, trying to act like they, that they're courageous. They were just showing just how how idiotic they were, It says, it would bring shame and disgrace on me and lead many people astray. For the present, I might be able to escape what you could do to me. Just like these people, they'll think that, well, at least if I get this done, I won't be persecuted. I won't be stopped and interrogated. I won't be listed on the terror watch list. But whether I live or die, I cannot escape Almighty God. Yeah, because those that give in to this devil, all right, and you be deceived and you receive his mark and worship his image, then you want to escape that damnation of the second death. Everybody that takes that, you're gonna have your part in the lake that burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. You won't be able to escape that judgment. Because if I die bravely now, it will show that I deserved my long life. It will also set a good example of the way young people should be willing and glad to die for our sacred and respected laws. So yeah, he that's how he went out, man. And that was honorable and very respected. All right. But he could have made this look attractive, like, hey, I'm finna eat, I'm finna chow down on this pork. Matter of fact, somebody passed me, some seasoning. Let's sprinkle some herbs and seasonings on it. Let's sizzle it up. Let's put it on the fire. Nah, man. But going back to the appearance of it all, people are going to be under strong delusion, believing it in a lie, because it's gonna work like magic to them. It's gonna give them capabilities that they didn't have. So, Satan's on the left-hand side always trying to evolve. And people they're gonna be attracted to it. But like it says in Sirach, was it the 15th chapter? That those that fear the Lord do not find any attractiveness in evil. Was it Sirach 15? Or it might be 12. Let me check. I think it might be 12. Let me go to Sirach 15. Yep, Sirach 15. And I'll start at 11. It says, "Don't blame the Lord for your sin," meaning those that make that decision. You can't blame the Lord. When you get caught up, you're going to be held accountable. Your sin is going to accuse you in that day. It says, "The Lord does not cause what he hates." Don't claim that he has misled you. He doesn't need the help of sinners to accomplish his purposes. The Lord hates evil in all its forms. You get that MOTB, or any of these sinful deeds that people take pleasure in. The Most High hates it. Society might paint it in a different way to make it appealing, like there's nothing wrong, and that's the nature of the devil. The devil, he has the nature of making evil look good and good look evil. That's why it says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil." All right. And if you're on the Lord's side, you're going to hate it. And those who fear the Lord find nothing attractive in evil. All right. And they're going to make this thing look like it's a big deal. All right. That's why it says that, and he deceived them. All right. By the means of the miracles. So people are going to look at the things that they're able to do with this technology, and they're going to look at this thing as if, it's godly. And hence, that's why Esau, he wants the worship. He wants you to worship the things that are made with his hands. But the scriptures say that when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. He's going to make that craft prosper in his hand. So, yeah, man, you just watch, how it's going to get. Because right now, people, when you talk about the MOTB, a lot of people know about this. People go into it. People know what it is. But when they start to like really, push it, you're gonna have people that's gonna cross over and be like, this might not be too bad. It's actually be easy for me because look at what's going on now. Shit is gonna start getting more and more difficult when you're not opting within confines of this man's new infrastructure. You're gonna find it harder to actually live. So that's what's gonna start to make people shift. Because people always love the easy route. They love comfortability. And then you're going to have on the back end, Esau's going to just come down and force it. There's nothing for them to use Trump to do their dirty work. Well, we're going to make this law. We're gonna put this in an executive order. So everybody must comply with this order. You're going to have to get that implant. Digital currency is all we're dealing with. No more paper money. And they're working on that as we speak. This whole trade war is what's going to lead to it. And they all are in on it. So, yeah, you know, that's why the scriptures tell us to, put on the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And guess what? This technology is part of those wiles. All right, when you go into it, let me get this precept though. Ephesians 6:11, it says, "Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." When you look up wiles, the Greek word is methodeia or methodia, and it says cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. All right, cunning arts, all right, deceit, craft, but it's deceitful cunning arts, and that's this technology. It talks about how he's going to deceive you by the means of those miracles, because the technology is what's deceitful. And the scriptures say, harden not yourselves, when it talks about the deceitfulness of sin. Is that Hebrews 3:13? It says, "But exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin." And that's why people are going to be deceived. Like it says in 2 Thessalonians, they're going to be given over to strong delusion that they should believe a lie, because, they did not love the truth, that would save them, but had pleasure in unrighteousness, and that pleasure is going to be just for a moment, because the Lord's going to come as a thief in the night. Then what good was that moment? Because now you got to face the judgment. So going back to these wiles, this is part of the devil tricking you and deceiving you, with this device. All right. Now, when you go to the etymology, we're going to go to etymology, and let's just type in the word technology. I went into this at camp previously. Now it says, it's a lot, technology, and it says, of pertaining to technology in any sense, 1620s, in reference to terminology from technology equal, the meaning of or relating to the industrial arts as pertaining to or characterized by technology. Down here it says a discourse or treatise on an art or the arts, from Latinized form of Greek technologia, systematic treatment of an art, craft, or technique, originally referring to grammar from techno, combining form of techne, art, skill, craft, and work, method, system, an art, a system or method of making or doing, craft, of weaving or fabricating. All right. And that's what Esau intends to do, man. Fabricating these abilities, all right, that you would have, and you thinking that this is coming from him, So it's definitely a craft. Going back to the wiles, cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. So this technology, this evolution, is part of the method. It's part of the wiles of the devil, man. And they put a term on it, transhumanism. So that's why the scriptures say to, get armed, stay armed, protect yourself, with this armor of the Most High, man. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And that's what we're dealing with this whole beast system. All right, and the globalist elite that runs it. They're the rulers of the darkness of this world. They're the ones that came up with these ideas and concepts. They're the ones that came up with the New World Order. These devices. It says, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against that you may be able to withstand in an evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Because it's going to come at you. You know, if you don't have faith, guarding you, Satan's going to come at you from all angles, trying to seduce you, trying to tempt you. Hey, your wife looking like she's about to lose faith. What you gonna do? Your children over there crying. Everybody looking perplexed. What you gonna do? You the head. You want to get back to normal? You want to be able to go back and get your life back? Go back to, going shopping and going out to eat and all these different things? Or are you going to suffer? And that's how Satan's going to come at you in your mind. But if you have the armor of the Most High, man, you're gonna block all that out. You're gonna be shielding yourself. 2 Ezra 14:14, put off now the weak nature. Don't deal with mortal thoughts. So anyway, I thought I'd go into this, and hopefully y'all are edified. Let me give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Until the next lesson, Shalom.